Hello, it's Dina Rich, Broker Associate at Keller Williams Realty on South Padre Island. Effective July 1st of 2026, listing agreements were revised regarding seller contributions to buyer agent compensation. In previous versions of the listing agreement, sellers decided upfront how much to pay both their agent and the buyer's agent. The new listing agreement addresses only what the seller will pay the seller's agent. This does not mean the buyer agents work for free now, nor does it eliminate the need for buyers to have an agent representing their best interest. Before beginning their property search, buyers and their agents agree upon compensation in a document called the Buyer Representation Agreement. However, this agreement states that the agent will first seek to be compensated by the seller. If the seller agrees to pay less or nothing at all, then the buyer may be responsible for paying some or all of their agent's compensation. But most buyers are still hoping that sellers will pay at least a portion, if not all, of their agent compensation. So if it's no longer addressed ahead of time in the listing agreement, when does the determination of the seller's contribution to the buyer agent's compensation come into play? That decision will be addressed in paragraph 12 of the offer and is now a part of the negotiation process. Now, sellers, it may sound good to you to think that you'd only have to pay one agent. And it may seem perfectly logical to place the responsibility of paying the buyer's agent solely on the buyer. When buyers ask you to compensate their agent, I know it will be tempting to say no. The offer you receive probably won't seem perfect to you, especially when market conditions favor buyers. The offer may not be full price, and the buyer may ask you to pay for items such as the title policy, a new survey, HOA documents, or a residential service contract. And on top of that, now they're asking that you pay their agent too? You might be thinking, no way. But I've always believed that in order to be a successful seller, it helps to think like a buyer. Think back to when you bought the property that you're now trying to sell. Did you have to pay your buyer agent? Probably not. But if you had had to pay your buyer agent, how might that have impacted your decision-making or even your ability to purchase this property? It's my hope that sellers will understand the need to and the advantage of paying all or at least part of the buyer agent compensation. Compensating the agent who arranged the showing and brought their buyers to your property, who made sure the buyer was well qualified to purchase your property, and who spent time writing the offer for your property. I'd like to leave you with this final thought. What happens when sellers decide not to pay buyer agent compensation? Well, it makes things tough for buyers. What happens when things are tough for buyers? Buyers don't buy. And what happens when buyers don't buy? Things become tough for sellers. I guess you could call it the karma of buyer agent compensation. Thanks for watching. In the next video in the series, we'll discuss 10 specific reasons why sellers should consider compensating buyer agents.